What's up guys, welcome back to another great episode with Car Talks. A great sunny day with one and only the original Stig. We're in a Ford Mustang. What a great day to go for a drive with the one and only Top Gear original Stig. Now, what's left to do is to go out, go for a spin, and let's go meet him. Welcome inside the Ford Mustang, and I'm going to introduce you to the original Stig. That's you. So I've just got a number of questions to ask you on this drive, if that's okay.
My pleasure.
Yeah, okay, so if I fire away. So I was just wondering, how did you get into the motorsport side of things? Was it always a passion, or did you just happen to fall into it?
I was at college and I was studying law, economics, art and sociology, and I never followed motor racing, but I was a little bit too quick on the road. I like my cars.
Yeah.
And a pal of mine used to love motor racing. He used to bring these magazines in called Grand Prix International, and I used to keep drawing the cars in art classes, and then I started reading about the drivers and thinking, wow, these guys are great. And then, unfortunately or fortunately, stories about my road driving circulated a little bit because I was too quick on the road. But a complete fluke, the chief instructor of Brands Hatch Racing actually came out to get me after hearing some tales about me, and he insisted I come to the track with him, which I did, and that was it. I took him around the track. And then, bless his soul, he said I was the best he'd ever seen. He'd only started the day before. Okay.
And how old were you when you had this introduction at Brands Hatch? Was it
just about 18?
Oh, okay. So,
yeah. So I mean, my first race was at the back end of 1981, and I got straight in, and I was very, very quick, but I made so many mistakes. I just didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess at any age, learning something new, you're going to make multiple mistakes, just depending on I did make multiple mistakes. But then a lot of it was then about, knocking on doors, trying to get people interested, trying to get the backing so I could go out there. And then so I did return in 1982, got 3 pole positions out of 6 races in what's called the British Formula Ford Championship. Wow, that's amazing.
And then the following year, I went out and won the championship. I'm not one of those people that's competitive about, who's got a bigger house, who's got a bigger car, who earns the most money. No, it's highly competitive against myself to want to be the best I can be, doing whatever I choose to do. I think that's probably the most important thing. Well, it's certainly the way I go about it. It's got a nice fraud in this, hasn't it? There we go.
Sounds great. It's actually my first time actually being in one of these new Mustangs. I've been in an old Mustang. I've never been in a new one.
Well, it's the first time I've ever driven one because my friends at Ford have been terribly kind. There's something, I don't like to use the word charity, but it's a kind of a make-a-wish thing. There's a young lad who's not very well at all, and he wanted to meet me and wanted to go out in a Mustang, so Ford have been very generous. They've sent the Mustang over for me, and I'm going to be seeing the young gentleman a little bit later on to take him out for a bit of a thrill.
That's nice. It's always nice to do a bit of charity when you can.
I think we all look to be supported, don't we, by friends, and whatever we can do.
Exactly.
That hopefully makes a difference is the least we can do. Back to the Mustang. My real thoughts on this Mustang is that if you're somebody who doesn't want attention, this is not the car for you, because it's got that kind of big boy. I mean, the designers have done, the stylists have done a great job on re-evoking that 1960s Mustang American spirit, and it really does look the part. And of course, it's a pretty powerful car. It's a 5-litre V8 engine, and I have knocked it down the gears. 10 gears this thing's got. 10. I've never driven a car with 10 gears, but it does help the acceleration out somewhat, and it's got this unmistakable growl, which I think if I put my foot down too long, it'll create a fault line along Essex and separate it from the rest of the country. That is the kind of reverberation that this thing's got.
Wow. That's quite incredible, really. You think 10 gears, like most cars.
10 gears, yeah.
5 years ago, when you see one with 7, you thought that was a lot in a road
7
car.
is a lot, yeah.
It is a lot. I mean, my BMW, that's got 7 gears.
Mm-hmm.
But majority, you always thought, like 5th gear, you think 5 or 6. So everyone thought when 6 gears came out, that was huge.
Yeah.
But now cars, I mean, where do you think it would go? 10, 12, 14? Like, it's getting...
Well, it depends where we go, really, doesn't it? Because obviously with electric, you're just going into seamless. But this is definitely a statement car. It's one, I think it's one that, if you're that way inclined, this car does put a smile on your face. It really does.
Yeah.
It's not for me. It's not completely my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see where it is for so many people.
It's just got that growl about it, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, can you hear it? Yeah.
I can hear it.
And this is like, we're just poodling along. I haven't let loose yet. I'll get a tiny bit back there. But...
So the ultimate question I wanted to ask was, how did you get the opportunity to become the original Stig?
My career coming through motor racing was short. There's no question about it, and everybody knows that. It was that no money, hanging on for dear life. There was no family support, no friends of the family that could do that. So it was all about, you know, trying to bump my way into the next drive, the next uncompetitive drive to try and help something up the grid. So it was all one big adventure, and everybody said, you know, with all the stunts that you've pulled to survive and keep going, and you know, you should be writing a book about it. So I did, and I called it Flat Out, Flat Broke. And it was at the book launch. We had a big party in London. A lot of friends from Formula 1 come out to support me. Yeah. And a lot of friends from TV, including Jeremy Clarkson. And it was actually at the book launch that they said, look, it's a bit of a secret, but Top Gear had been off air for quite a long time at that moment. But they had plans to bring it back, and they had plans for this kind of secret racing driver. And
rather than this big announcement of it.
Yeah. So, and they said, like, we want you to do it. And I said, you're talking to the right boy. so that's how we kicked it off.
Slightly off the topic of the racing side. Well, it's a bit of both. What is your favourite track, and what is your favourite track that you've ever driven? So one that you've not driven, but you might have driven more.
Well, I think most of us would probably turn around from the major circuits that are known, and say Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, which is the host of the Belgium Grand Prix, and that's set in the middle of the Ardennes, and that is a beautiful and challenging circuit. And it's a real privilege to be a racing driver in a you know, fabulously powerful car. So yeah, Spa. There were a bunch of circuits in America that I raced on which people wouldn't have heard of, which were quite raw, and I liked that because, you know, I know we're all into safety and everything else nowadays, but when you've got high-speed corners that have got, you know, just such a massive runoff area, then anybody can be brave through there.
What's kind of like a high-speed corner around Spa then? Is it like what?
Spa, well, frankly, Eau Rouge is flat out, so whatever speed you manage to get up to go into there, 180 going into tracks. A track that I wish I'd been around more than I did, because I did so few laps in Formula 1 there, was Monaco. Okay. Yeah. And I kind of like street circuits.
Is that like the ultimate for you?
Well, I've raced on a bunch of street circuits in America, and they always went terribly well for me, so I'm kind of, I like the non-forgiving stuff, you know? The
precision.
Yeah.
Precision.
So, but also a question of, you know, commitment, maybe a bit of courage and stuff, is to say, hey, you know, I'm taking this flat out, and there's no second chances if you get it wrong. So I've always kind of leaned toward that aspect. It was the stuff that, you know, made my heart beat. Yeah. And there's a lot that does make your heart beat in motor racing, especially the rain. You know, if you're following somebody or coming up on back markers and you're blinded, that's, you know, I'm not unique in this. Me and, you know, all my mates can give you horror stories about being at terribly high speed and quite literally not being able to see anything. And then when you get out of the car and look back on it, you think, did I really do that? It's absolutely insane. But that's your job. Yeah, at the moment you're not prepared to do it, you're kind of in the wrong job.
And I always ask all my friends, what is your favourite car? Your favourite car
Road car, we're talking.
Road car.
Yeah.
Favourite car that, if money was no object, and then the best car you've ever driven.
I don't know. In order.
Doesn't matter how old, how new.
Yeah. Well, the Ferrari 458 is a mega car.
Yeah.
Absolutely mega. And I was fortunate enough to have one for a while. So yeah, that was. I mean, that just takes an awful lot of beating. I mean, I've driven the Pagani Zonda on Top Gear, and that was a real laugh. And also, I've driven the F40, the Ferrari F40 on the track, and that thing is double lively. but for saying where you don't want to be, where you kind of think that you're going to see tomorrow, then the 458 is probably your best bet.
Yeah.
The thing with classic cars that I personally find is that I'm in love with them, absolutely in love with them. Their look, their smell, their heritage, the nostalgia, their history, the imagery, the whole thing, right up until the moment where you drive them. And of course, automotive technology has increased so much and improved so much over the last 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Is that what once was just the most adorable car in the entire world, you'll have a 1.1 Vauxhall take it apart now. You know? So, and also, you know, the steering's loose on those things, the brakes aren't as sharp, and so you have to really limit your expectations and just have the moment of reliving the glory of the day of that car.
Yeah.
So I'm not really clear if I would have one if I had, you know, because something like a Ferrari California.
Oh, that's a beautiful car.
Yeah, but I think that you're probably looking at an entry price of, I'm not clear, but £8 million to get in one or something. You know, you kind of think, well, I can do lots of stuff with £8 million.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things.
Yeah. So I think that 458 probably, for me, I reckon best road car I've driven.
Okay. What is it like being on the circuit, Formula One? What's it like being in the car?
Well, any race, you've got a job to do, and it's about, you know, there's a lot to control, because it's not just about trying to get the best out of yourself and trying to get the best out of the team, but it's about avoiding mistakes, and it's about trying to get too carried away and too hung up, you know, because your emotions do start coming up. I mean, this is a highly competitive activity.
Yeah.
And, you know, there is a lot of adrenaline, there's a lot of heartbeat. So you've got to kind of direct all this pressure in the right way. I always feel that there's kind of two types of pressure in motor racing. You know, you're either handing it out or you're taking it. I think the thing for me about motor racing is that it's always demanded absolutely everything that I've got to give, and it still wants more. So it's almost like a calling. It probably is an obsession, and maybe the same with any sports person, is that you're just constantly trying to be better, constantly looking up where the gaps are, and that might be you, or it might be the team, or it might be the car, but absolutely anything that you can think of, trying to get everybody to think and saying, we need to be faster, we need to be more competitive. And then even when you are the fastest, even when you are winning, then you've got the pressure of saying, how do we stay there? How do we stay ahead of the others? Because if you stop thinking like that and get complacent, they'll catch you and beat you. So this isn't like weekend warrior stuff. You know, if you're a racing driver, you're living it. You're living it all the time, mentally.
Every day.
You are. But it's only correct that you do that. So it is a passion, and you've got to, the absolute key thing about this, and there's probably a lot of people out there in business or their own activities, what they do. I wonder if they'll agree. For me, the key thing is you have got to want this at all costs. You've got to want it. I've failed so many times on a bunch of things, including different things within my own game. I've been fortunate to be quite successful on those same things as well. So I understand failure, but the one thing I don't understand in life is mediocrity, because I'm just not built like that. It's either everything or forget it.
That's like my wife. All in or go home.
I've got a couple of ad-libs there which I'll avoid, but anyway.
And I'm going to give you one final question.
Sure.
Now that you're, or when you were choosing your retirement stage, what was your thought process when you were going out of the racing? Where was your thoughts on moving forward? Pain.
Massive pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I smashed my left shoulder up very badly, and as soon as I did it,
yeah,
I kind of thought, I think that's the end of the career.
The sign is given you.
I had a couple of different operations, and then physio and the training and everything, because I managed to give myself a fairly good hiding in the past. Broken neck, broken back,
wow,
and feet and stuff like that. So, but it always got better. But I just knew the shoulder was going to be wrong. Yeah. So that took me out of top level motor racing. However, watch this space, because I just might be coming back.
All right.
Now, you might think I'm a little bit old for that, and you might be right. But actually, I've been back in training quite a lot recently, and we'll see. I can't talk too much about it, but I've had an offer from a well-known manufacturer, and my towel is definitely up and wagging. So fingers crossed, and if it does happen, we'll certainly be speaking more.
Very good. Well, thanks for all the answering all the questions, and I hope that was some good source of information for everyone that may know or may not know anything about sport and your sort of history on the questions that I asked.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. Thanks, Perry, so much for letting me go and have an afternoon with you out in the Mustang. Very intuitive, great source of information. And I just want to say what an opportunity, what an honour it was to go out in the car. It was my first interview, so first of many, I hope. So if you haven't already, please give my channel a thumbs up and a subscribe. That'll be much appreciated, and hope you enjoyed the ride, and I'll see you next time.